And this gives me now the opportunity to introduce one of a former recipient of an award and also a young ESPID member, and this is Lilly Verhagen. Hello, Lilly. Good evening.
Hi, all of you.
I would like. Sorry?
Very happy to be here.
We are happy to have you here. Let me introduce you to our audience, please. You are a fellow in pediatric infectious diseases and a clinician scientist from the Netherlands. And parallel to your clinical and research training, you completed a Master of Science in Clinical Epidemiology. And you are currently based at the Wilhelmina Children's Hospital at the University Medical Center in Utrecht, which is a wonderful city, by the way. Very nice waterways, nice houses. I like it a lot. And previously, you held positions as a clinician scientist in various places, such as Tanzania in 2008, Venezuela 2009 to 2013, and South Africa 2020. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but your research activities, I believe, are characterized by a global health scope with a focus on the host mucosal immune response in respiratory tract infections in pediatric populations. And as I said already, you've been a young ESPID board representative. So we are very happy to have you on our show tonight.
Thank you, Uli, for that wonderful introduction. And congratulations to the three of you, really, for organizing such a wonderful conference. It's been a real treat so far.
Thank you, Lilly. So may I ask you the first question? So I would really be interested in how you joined ESPID, how it all started. So can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, I joined ESPID for the first ESPID conference. I just looked it up actually, back in 2009 in Brussels. I was still a medical student at the time. And I remember that I was very impressed by all these knowledgeable people at the ESPID conference. Something else that impressed me was that there was a lot of interaction going on. And also that it was quite easy to start a conversation with somebody just at the coffee corner. Really. And I think that's something that kept intriguing me over the years, like how easy it was to meet people and to just step up to someone that you didn't know before and then start a conversation.
So did you consider yourself being a shy person when you kind of first went to one of these conferences, and how has that changed over the time?
Yeah, I think you could say shy, in the sense that I think I was mostly impressed really by all the people that I met there. And I felt very junior, I guess, in comparison. But on the other hand, one of my mottos has always been that it's better to regret the things that you did do than the things that you didn't do. So that sort of helped me to start an interaction, to walk up to that hot shot at the coffee corner and ask him or her what drove him or her to make certain decisions in their careers. So yeah, it took some guts, especially in the beginning, definitely.
Do you feel that being part of ESPID helped your career? Yes,
I do feel that very strongly. It's the networking that I just mentioned, but also I think the young ESPID community is really a community where there's lots of space to share these sort of self-doubts and fears that we may have in the beginning of our careers. And when you share these things with others and like-minded people, it sort of diminishes them as well. And also, like Uli mentioned, I was the recipient of the fellowship a couple of years ago. And it's really important that a community like ESPID gives out these grants to people that are not yet principal investigators and they don't have a very established research career yet. Because it's this very critical phase where you do clinical training and research, where we see lots of dropouts, especially of young people trying to combine things. And the fellowship, in my case, really helped me to maintain the research path, you could say.
And Lilly, as a young ESPID member, you and your colleagues from Young ESPID have also actively shaped the program of ESPID for several years by now. Would you like to tell us how responsible you feel and how much fun or pressure that was for you and your mates?
Yeah, Yeah, and a lot of those credits obviously go to other people than myself. I only joined the board last year. But yes, I think we felt very grateful to have been given more and more opportunities to shape the program. And also there's lots of space for like new ideas from our side. For example, the debates. Those were started only 2 years ago, and they've now become a plenary part of the program, where young ESPID members actually get the chance to have a plenary podium at an early stage of their career. It also gives a little bit of pressure to comment on your second point, but I think it's teamwork really, and we have great people in our team.
And as you nicely demonstrated, this can give you a path in the career. And I very lively remember the first 2 young ESPID representatives on the board. That was 10 years ago during my presidency. That's why I remember it, were Julia Belitsky, who is now in Basel with our team, and Marieke Edmonds, who also made a wonderful career. So everybody who is not an ESPID member, become an ESPID member. And if you are young, under 40, I believe, is the threshold, get yourself active with young ESPID. I think that's really
it's not only the age criteria. If you're over 40 but still in training, then you can still become a young ESPID member. So I would encourage those people that were out for a while, that had a leave or something, to still apply if they're still in training.
I sometimes feel I'm still in training, so maybe I can join young ESPID too.
Yeah. I think we're all still in training.
You have some predefined training criteria.
But now, before we let you enjoy the rest of your evening, something completely different. We heard that you recently returned from a refugee camp in Greece. Is that right?
Correct.
And
yes.
Would you like to share a few of your impressions and experience with us?
Yes. So I worked in Lesbos in Greece for a month in March 2020 as a pediatrician in the largest refugee camp on the islands, where we delivered emergency medical aid. So we were working after hours, really, evening and nights. I think my first thought was I was only going to be there for a couple of weeks, so it wasn't realistic that I could be of help. But my biggest impression was that only by showing that we do really care about these people, giving them some attention, sometimes a cup of tea while doing a consultation, you could make a difference, even if I only was there for a couple of weeks.
That was really impressive.
So Lilly, can you tell us a little bit on how kind of it shaped you? So when you kind of go back and forth into these kind of humanitarian settings, and then you go back into the country where you have been working always, so did that make a difference to you?
Yeah. Actually, this was my first experience in a humanitarian setting. So while I'd worked abroad before, this was the first time I worked with an NGO. I think what was very striking this time is that basically I was working on European grounds, but it felt as a very isolated, strange setting. Like when I worked in South Africa last year, you go there and you prepare yourself, knowing that you are going to a setting which is very different from your own setting. And now it was strange to still be in Europe and then see all of these horrible circumstances people living. It almost felt as if, because it's Europe, I should have a say in what's happening there, which you don't really. I was just there to help out. But it affected me differently because of that.
Okay, Lilly, we hope to see you live again, really live, really live next year at ESPID. Are you planning to attend? You have to say
yes. One way or another, I will attend, virtually, hybrid or live. I'd be curious to see a hybrid conference actually happening. I think we've been talking about it a lot, but I haven't really been to one. So I'd be curious to see that happening for ESPID.
Good, yeah, I can tell you it's different, but it's fun.
Okay,
so
sounds reassuring.
Thank you very much for spending your time with us, sharing your experience and You were the first live guest on the ESPID show, so to say. And
thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure, really.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Lilly.
Ciao.